with another video. I'm going to go ahead and continue with the video that I did just this last time, and what I like to use, and for the most part it's what I have, but actually with this one I'm going to go ahead and show you what I use as far as my face. So I'm basically just going to go ahead and start from the base, and how you would do it. I do my eyes first though, so that's in the last video. Go ahead and check that out. And then when I go to the face, obviously primer, use your fingers. It's the best tool, I think, in order to get it, into every spot that you need it. Um, After the primer, it's going to go ahead and be the foundation. Now, I have two sponges. I'm going to go ahead and just put the pictures up here. The ones that I have are a little too dirty, and I don't want to show them right now because I do need to wash them. To be honest, I probably should just buy new ones. Anyway, but the first one is going to be the Ulta Beauty sponge. It was kind of my first go-to, when I started doing makeup. Of course, I just started doing makeup and loving it this year, so it wasn't even that long ago. But it is something that I feel like the bottom of the sponge is round, it's wide, so I do feel like it gets a lot of the surface area of your face, and it helps to blend it in fast and seamless. And to be honest, when I first used it, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that my makeup and my foundation could look that flawless, because I had used for the longest time more of a foundation brush, and I noticed it would be a little bit streaky or whatever, but it's what I had and it was what was given to me, so that's what I worked with. Um, if I'm not using the Ulta Beauty one, I'm using the Real Techniques, and I love that one as well. Same type of density, it's very soft. It does help, I think, with the flat end to go ahead and blend out the concealer, because that's what I do as far as next after the foundation. It's the concealer, and that's what I use to blend it out. Some people use brushes, some people, maybe use the dupes for Artis brushes or something of that nature. For me right now, brushes just don't seem to be working, and I don't know if it's because my skin is a little bit dry on just the regular, but I do like the flat end of the Real Techniques sponge, and so those are my go-to sponges. They're affordable, so it is something that if you need to replace it, which is recommended, then it's not going to be that bad as far as replacing it. So that would handle my foundation and my concealer. Next thing would be essentially powder. Setting the concealer, setting the foundation, and what I use for that. Like I said, it's going to be the sponge, the flat end. If I'm not using the flat end, like to maybe bake or to put a little bit more powder in to set that, I am going between two brushes to kind of just lightly dust something so it doesn't look so heavy on the bottom of the eye. The first one is the e.l.f. small tapered brush, and it looks like this. It's part of it's a black handle. I'm not sure what the collection is. I don't know if there's a specific name. I'm sure there is, but it's probably like maybe $3 instead of one, maybe $3 or $4. And you can see here by the name that it is going to be tapered here, so it is something that gets perfectly right here in the crevices of your eyes and underneath, and it helps to just kind of set the powder and put the powder in place. So I do tend to go to this one. And if I don't use this one, maybe because it's a little too powdery, I need to wash it, or if I'm just not feeling it, then the next brush that I'll go to is this brush. Again, anytime you see this handle, I know these are probably dupes for the Real Techniques, but they're no names. At least I don't have a name for them. It's something I found on the Wish app, and I'll go with this one as well. It's kind of the same idea. It's kind of the same idea where it is a little bit tapered. Not as much, you can't tell as much. It is a little bit more fluffy. But I do like this when I'm trying to just do a real quick sweep, because it does give a little bit more. It does give a little bit more surface area, as what you can tell like here. So when I'm just trying to go quick and do it, then that's what I go to. So it's between those two. They work. They place the powder where it needs to be, and those are my two under the eye powder brushes. Now for all over the face, as far as powder, kind of my only one that I go to since I've had this is going to be the Real Techniques powder brush. And it, of course, looks like this. Probably seen it before. It's real fluffy here on the top, real soft too. And so this is something I just dip right in and put, and you can see by the surface area that it's going to get a lot of your face and hopefully help as far as not putting too much powder. I notice if I put a lot of powder around here, it does look a little bit powdery, a little bit cakey, so I do try and, just dust it in the powder. But that's my go-to face powder brush or powder tool. So I do recommend this. I like this. And sometimes if my contour is a little bit heavy or my bronzing or my blush, and I don't feel like maybe it's blending in as good as it could be, sometimes I will go back in with this and then just soften it up and try and see what that can do for me. So it does have a couple of different purposes, but I do like that one. Now, the next thing after powder that I do is going to be a bronzing type of contour setup. Not so much contour, I do more like a bronze. And what I will use with that is going to be this brush, again, part of the No Name, but it's a stipple brush. And there's something about having a stipple brush. It has dual fibers here. You can see the black and you see the white. It's different heights and different textures. But there's something about this that just helps to disperse the product and diffuse the edges as it's doing it, where it's not giving you such a harsh line and then it's a little bit harder to blend out. There is something about that I think I found it in a video one time. Somebody used it and they did like it, and it is just something I tried one day, and I do like that. So any type of stipple brush I would advise, just trying out to do, and trying to do the contour. Sorry, I don't think I can talk today. But it does help here. It helps, I think, helps it diffuse here on the edges, because of course when you do your contour bronzing, you want to bring it up around your forehead and, all of that. So I think it does help. If I'm not using this one, my most recent one that I like to go to as well is going to be the one that I got from the BoxyCharm, and this is the Pointed Blush Brush from Moda Pro, Royal and Langnickel. As you can see here, it's going to have a tapered end, but it's really fluffy. So what I like about this is that the tapered end part hits right here in the hollow of your cheek, and the outside and the more fluffy end help to blend it out and give you more of a bigger bronze type of sun-kissed type of look. So that's what I've been really liking about this. I've used it a couple of times, but to be honest, I do like it. It helps to really diffuse it. Because again, being new to makeup and not really knowing how to do contour, or I don't know if a harsh contour looks good on me or if it's just more of a bronze, I do find myself liking this one as well. So I recommend something like this, and it doesn't have to be this brand or this particular brush, but anything where I know a lot of brands have tapered, fluffier brushes that are used technically for blush. But that's what I would recommend trying out, and that's my go-to. With regards to the next step, I do then do blush, and I use one of two brushes. The first brush that I began to use blush with is this one. And again, it's from that little collection. I think I got this collection. It was like, I forget how much, $5 or $10, but 5 or 6 come in a pack. And it's pretty good, I think for a starter kit anyway. But I do like this. Something about the flat end here on the brush, I think helps to place it here. So you want to smile. And it helps to get right on the apple of the cheek. But then when I put the blush, it helps me to kind of blend it as well. And it helps me to blend it into the bronzer. So that way it's not an exact circle right here, but it is something that kind of blends out. And I've really been enjoying, using this. It's kind of my go-to. because I know that like when you dip it in, tap off a little bit of the excess, but you know, once you bring it through, it's pretty good. I do like that. Um, I don't know if there are any other brands that have. I'm sure there's other brands that have something flat like this, but it works for me. So I like that one. And most recently, in the last haul that you saw, I did get an e.l.f. stipple brush, a smaller one, and I think it was like $3 or something. But with this one, I recently have been liking this with my blush as well. I have a cream to powder blush from e.l.f. and I dipped it in. And with this, you just, you go in circular motions. But again, there's something about the stipple brushes that help to blend it, to help diffuse the edges. And that's what I've been really liking when it comes to the contour and the blush. So I would advise definitely trying this. Again, the brushes are $3-4. It's part of this collection, so it's a little bit more than just the $1 brushes. But it's a very good investment if you ask me. It's sturdy. For the most part, all of these brushes, named or non-named, are pretty sturdy and they have good grips, and I don't feel like they're going to break on you. At least I've had these for a while now. Well, this one I just got, but the other ones I've had for a little while now, and they're still in pretty good condition. The next thing after that, of course, is going to be highlight, and I really only use one brush for highlight. If it's not the brush is my finger, depending on the highlight that I'm using. But I go to the e.l.f. highlighting brush, and it is similar to the small tapered brush that I showed earlier. However, it's a little bit more, I would say, a little more fluffy. Small tapered brush is more for, again, the under eye. This is a little bit more fluffy, and I really like this in order to get it right here on the cheekbones, right here on the top, and then sometimes I bring it up here, down my nose, a little bit on my cupid's bow. Not so much on my cupid's bow. I'm not really into that. Maybe not yet, anyway. And I think that's it. But I do like this. I've tried using a fan brush before, and I've tried using like a bigger fan brush, a smaller fan brush, and I don't know, it just doesn't do it for me. It doesn't place as much product as I'd like on there. Even though I don't like a harsh highlight, I still want to have some product there without feeling like there's nothing there. So for me, this has been really doing it, and I do like this one. So I would recommend this one as well. Now the last things in the last couple of brushes that I wanted to just mention. Sorry about that. Anyway, what I wanted to just mention was in regards to sometimes when I feel like my blush or my bronzer is a little bit too harsh, the lines are a little bit too defined, then I will go in and use a couple of different other brushes. If I don't use the powder brush that I mentioned earlier, I'll use a different brush that's a clean brush in order to help try and just blend everything together. The first one is going to be BBL. I think that's the brand. I'm not really sure, but it's one of those brush sets that it comes in a brush set. It has like 20, and it comes with one of those like little foldy cases. But this was actually also my first like bronzer contour type of brush because of the way that it's shaped and it's tapered. It does fit here perfectly, I think, and it helps to kind of give you a nice bronze. But sometimes I'll take a brush like this, or I'll take the e.l.f. complexion brush, which again is fluffy, and it's something where I keep these clean so that way I can kind of just blend it more together. And sometimes I use the e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush. So this is probably a little bit more concentrated. If I feel like I need to get a little bit of a spot here, I'll concentrate it in one area and circle it out. But for the most part, these are what I would use in order to blend out anything that I feel like it's too harsh. Again, more so for my contour and blush, because usually highlight's pretty good. There's really nothing there, for me anyway, that I've had to, kind of fix. And so these are what I like there. So that's going to go ahead and complete this video. I just wanted to come here, sit down, talk with you a little bit on some of the brushes that I like to use when I'm doing my makeup, and maybe it'll give you some ideas. If you've never tried a stipple brush, maybe you will. Maybe the flat end brush for blush, or some of the e.l.f. brushes that I have, things like that, Real Techniques. So I hope you enjoy the video. I hope you'll come back for more. And if you do like the video and you like some of the content that I have provided, hopefully all of the content, but if you like it, go ahead. I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a comment below. I am definitely hoping to catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.